welcome to CLCI Live. I'm your host, Brooke Walters.
Wait, what?
Brooke has changed.
Yes, I am the stand-in for Brooke, I guess, because she and Anthony are on a 3-week amazing adventure. So,
Oh my gosh, on their way to Bali. We'll miss them very much and are
We
very
will.
jealous or envious. I don't know what. We did have that discussion before. Anyway,
yes, we're one of them.
I want them to really have a wonderful experience. Be safe.
But in the meantime, with them absent, we have our special guests, such as Mike today. Thank you for joining us, Mike. We're so happy you're here.
Happy to be here. Yeah, I'm glad to be here. We were talking before we started, like it's been a while. So I don't know how long. It's been months at least since I was able to do the live. So I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. Yes, I'm glad that we've moved to Wednesday so you can join us more. I like that.
Yes, y'all be seeing this face a lot more.
Well, and earlier too. We moved a day ahead, or is that right? Day ahead? I don't know.
Yep.
And an hour earlier. So thanks for catching up with us. If you have some confusion of why weren't we on Tuesday, we switched a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
Yeah, like, share, comment, subscribe, and please share with us your knowledge on our topic today.
Yes, please join the conversation. We love to hear from you. We've hit all our marks, right?
I feel
What's
like I'm
left?
All the opening marks.
What is left, Jerome? Jerome, what are we missing?
I think we got everything. Talk, please let us know. We're going to hop into this conversation in a second. So please, we love to hear from you guys. So please go ahead and comment if you guys are here. We love to respond to you.
And we need the title. What is today's title?
Today's title is Emotions 101, Stoicism, Wisdom with, let me see, where are we at?
With a stone face.
Wisdom with a stone face.
Wait, I thought it was wisdom without a stone
Without
face.
a stone face, you
Without
got
a stone
it.
face.
Without.
Sorry,
But see, I don't even understand what that means. So we're going to have to get into that.
Yeah, we're going to have to break that down.
So this is a really great topic that really deserves more time than, what we've done even with it. I think we were chatting in there. What is this? What is Stoicism? I think it's, as we've come to realize, it's like the original mindfulness in the discussions of how we work within our daily life and the expressions of how we allow things to impact us or not to impact us.
So I think...
Hello, Anthony!
Oh, Anthony, hi.
I won!
Yay. What's it like there, Anthony? Tell us, because I don't think I'll make it. I don't think I'll make it there.
This is really Anthony's topic. It's too bad he's not here.
I know. That's what I was thinking.
Oh, yes.
This entire time doing research, I'm like, Anthony is...
Absolutely.
He would align with this story.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was breaking down the title, and Jen, you said you're a little confused, and I understand it. I think, at least in my understanding, Stoicism without the stone face, I think that's just kind of implying that you don't have to always internalize what it is to be a Stoic without showing emotion. You can definitely express emotion while still taking part in the act of being, I guess, what you would call a Stoic.
Okay.
Because I think a lot of the things that someone would consider a Stoic, it kind of implies that you're just one of these, not letting anything affect you. You're not expressing any type of emotion.
Right.
So I think that would describe the title.
Okay. So you can have Stoicism in your life without being so stone-faced about it, is what we're saying.
That's my belief.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or have some stone face in there as well.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing like that. Like we were talking before, because I told y'all before when I was looking into it, I was thinking like how I always understood it was like a nonchalant, like a lack of even care. But that's not it. That's the misunderstanding, right? And that's why there's articles that says like when it goes too far, where it could be damaging. But it's like that lack of letting it kind of that lack of letting it take you down or take you off your rocker, so to speak. So that stoicism in terms of where it's positive is not letting the hardships and I think that's kind of like the definition too, if you look it up, like not letting the hardships weigh you down too much, still being able to have some kind of, resistance or resilience to the hardships of life.
Mm.
Yeah. It's that question that we ask often, even in coaching. What are you in control of?
Yeah.
So I got the definition of what stoicism is.
Perfect.
By definition, oh my gosh, no, this is way too. Okay, I will try to get through it. Stoicism is a philosophical school that emerged in ancient Greece and Rome, emphasizing rationality and virtue as the path to a tranquil life. Founded by Zeno of Citium around the early 3rd century BCE, Stoicism teaches that living in harmony with nature and accepting natural order leads to true happiness. It stresses the importance of self control, wisdom, and understanding the world through reason. Stoics believe in the inherent value of virtue, viewing external factors like wealth and health as indifferent. The philosophy promotes active participation in human affairs, advocating for moral duty and justice as central tenets. So that's the
That sounded like the Encyclopedia Britannica.
long-winded. Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
long-winded definition.
So what I'm
Yeah,
seeing is
But
that
even further than that, because you said, and I've got it's an Roman emperor, Marcus Aurelius. He really utilized a lot of this philosophy as well. Let's see, it's 121 AD. Did you say BC or AD when you said?
We were in the BC era when I
BC,
was
yep.
explaining.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's before this one. So Aurelius took up those meditations and and applied that to his leadership. Okay, go ahead.
wait, can we just say hi to Brooke, hi to
Hi.
Joe, and hi to Misha?
Brooke,
Wow.
Joe,
What a crew.
Anthony, Misha, everybody.
Yes. Love it.
Um,
What I see is like a list of the core principles.
mhm.
And so the first one is virtue, focus on what's within control, acceptance of what is, living in accordance with nature, distinguishing what is in and out of our control. Yeah. So virtue, nature, acceptance, control is what I'm gathering are the core pillars of it.
One that I feel like is really important is also service to community, which is kind of like explained in there. So doing well for those around you is important, I think, also in that philosophy. Which honestly, I was doing. Go ahead, Coach.
Go ahead, Jerome. No, you go ahead.
Okay, I was doing my research, and I think I can be a bit of a stoic sometimes, but I think it's again the misconception of like stone faced all the time that I guess it is a misconception, so I don't really have to disagree with it because it is a misconception, at least based on the definition of what stoicism is. It's just interesting. I think that a lot of the traits I agree with as far as if you are trying to practice stoicism, that's something that I think that I have just kind of like unconsciously practiced over time.
In your mind's eye, who are you in practicing the stoicism?
Who am I?
Yeah.
Jerome. I never saw myself as like a stoic. It's kind of just like something. I think if you're asking what I'm getting out of it, I think I get peace, which is I think ultimately what the purpose of stoicism is. I feel like I'm doing well for my environment and peace. I think peace ultimately, that's kind of what I feel like I get most out of it if I'm speaking about practicing it.
Yeah, and I think too, like what Misha dropped. Hey, Sue.
Hi,
I
Sue.
think what Misha dropped, I thought stoic was being tough through challenging times. I think what I like about it and doing the research is the kind of neutrality of it, where it can kind of on a spectrum, where it can kind of be what you make it. And Jerome, back to your point too. I never would have thought of myself as a Stoic because, again, I thought Stoicism was like more that nonchalant, like I don't care, stone face in that way. But when I was looking at it, I was like, I guess I have some Stoicism to me because it's like I don't let things bother me. It's that I think I said before we started, it's the story of the Taoist farmer that we have in the material, in class. It's like maybe, the story of maybe like, oh my God, that's so hard. And that's so maybe, so I feel like that really comes to mind when I think of Stoicism in terms of, thinking of this example. I'm like, man, I got a little Stoic in me that I never knew about until I looked this up. So I think that's where it can be like, persevering, in tough times and things that happen. And it's like, what's the takeaway from this, the lesson learned in it? And so that's what I've kind of come to or land my plane at, like, there's some good parts of this and some parts that I didn't know that I may have some of those traits.
I agree. I definitely practice some of it. I am very emotional, but I also am always looking for the answer to what's within my control. I'm looking to find out, what is important for me to accept here. That if I don't accept it and I challenge it is going to make it harder for me and more stressful for me and more suffering for me. And I didn't realize that I did it either because I am so emotional, but I am always looking for some form of neutrality in everything, for sure.
I saw a lot of coaching for the time I could research this. I saw a lot of coaching kinds of directions with this. I'm trying to find those questions that I put in our chat, and right now my computer's gone cuckoo.
Oh, I know what it is. It's
okay.
What did you do good? What did you do bad? And hang on, I'll find it.
There's 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah. As soon as I said it out loud, I'm like, wait, I need to look at it.
Is it the reflection Oreo?
Yeah, it's the reflection Oreo.
Yeah.
And so what did I do wrong? What did I do right? What could I do better? And I would personally use different language because I don't like the words right or wrong. I would say, what did I do well? What do I have as an area of opportunity for improvement?
Yeah.
I would say something like that. But yeah, it's the reflection Oreo.
That was a Stoic way of looking at that, Jen.
Right. Yes, it was.
There it is. It's in action. It's in action.
Very true.
Do we all agree that we kind of have, or at least we kind of sort of align with Stoicism sometimes? I feel like we. So my short answer is yes. I think I see it in all of us here.
The philosophy of Marcus Aurelius, for him, Stoicism, I'm reading, was a practical philosophy meant to be lived, not just discussed. So right now we're discussing, but we're also sharing in the discussion how we actually live through some of this mannerism. To act virtuously means to act in a way consistent with reason. Then, as now, rationality was seen as a crucial tool for understanding the world and making ethical choices. Right, so I'm doing the right thing as well.
So should we go through like a scenario and explore Stoicism of the scenario? What should we do with this?
I'm being pretty stoked right now because my AC is out and I'm trying not to lose my mind over here.
Oh my gosh.
In the middle of the desert.
Yeah.
I have something that I have done recently that I had to apply some Stoicism to get through it. So I drove my husband's truck into a brick wall and ripped the side of it open. And I felt terrible about it. And I knew that he was going to be upset about it. I also had a moment of panic and didn't know what to do. So I just left and I went home. And when I got home and I showed my husband what I did, he was like, "Did you damage the building?" And I was like, "Well, yeah." And he was like, "Okay, we have to go back. Like, we have to make a police report. You've hit and run, Jen." And I was like, "Oh, wow. I didn't even realize that because I was like in shock that it happened." And so now I'm panicking and freaking out because I'm like, had I not gone back, like I could have been arrested over this. Like, this is terrible. And it was just a matter of like, okay, what did you do well here? Well, you were honest and you told him what happened. Not like I could have hidden it. You went back. You are going to have this burned into your brain and body as knowledge that you will never hit anything and run again. You will call the police and file a report. Yeah, I had to have acceptance too of the fact that I'm just not a very good driver, and time caught up with me. You know, I had a pretty good run. I hadn't hit anything in a really, really, really long time. And I had to accept that. And that was a big slap to my ego, but I took it. So yeah, I think I had to apply what's within my control, the acceptance. You know, I have to accept that it's stress, that it's time, that it's money now to fix. It is what it is. But at the end of the day, it's still a privileged problem to have. It really is. And in comparison to other problems, it's just like maybe. Yeah, that sounds so hard, Jen. Maybe. To somebody, it's a walk in the park. So maybe.
Jen, what's so funny about this, and just looking at it though, and you sharing that story, the Stoicism, right? I feel that what you shared was some Stoicism with some realism as well. Because that's the thing where they say, one of the articles I read where it's like when Stoicism goes too far, it seems like the lack of emotion or anything like that. So the fact that you had a sense of panic, that wasn't Stoicism. The fact that you had a sense of when your husband said, hey, we got to go back and make a report, you was like, oh God, then I panic a little more. That's kind of the antithesis of what that Stoicism would have been, of like, well, okay, let's go. Versus like, oh my God, I could have been arrested. And so it's like, it's amazing how just those little parts of it kind of leads to something else. So what you did, I think definitely, even the way you started the story, something I had to apply. I think it was some levels of Stoicism too, right? When you got to the acceptance part, but the real in those moments, what you were dealing with was a little bit of realism too, in that panic of like, oh my God, and the shock and all of that, because the Stoic hits the wall and sits there and goes, well, what is this? All right. The fix, calm, no panic. And like, okay, now let me see how to do this. I call the authorities, whatever happens. We're good here. I'm at Zen, and maybe a meditation moment while sitting there in a messed up truck and building, so it was like, when I was hearing you say that, that's kind of some of the things that I felt when you said that. And that's only from reading, because I would have been, before looking at some of these articles, I would have been like, yeah, like, how do you apply Stoicism to that? So that's just reflection of what I heard. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, it absolutely makes sense.
Jerome. Yeah.
One of the things that also I think I want to point out is you learned a lesson from that too, Jen. Instead of kind of saying, "Oh, why is the world, coming down on me like this?" It was instead of looking at it in that manner, in that light, it was kind of like you mentioned. You learn that now you have to make a police report if this ever happens again. Fortunately, it doesn't. Hopefully. So that is, again, one of the core values of Stoicism is kind of looking at and approaching certain tribulations that we deal with. Actually, I mean, I think Stoicism, all of them, looking at it in a light as this, it's kind of like a mental exercise. It's like going to the gym, but for your mind. It's like, how does this make me better? How do I get stronger from this? So I think that's important.
Yeah, and even just hearing both of you, share, it made me realize, like, well, how would I want to respond? Would I want to not have any emotion? Because when it happened, I felt tremendous guilt. I didn't feel shame because I know I'm not bad because I had an accident, but I felt guilt that I had done that. I felt guilt that it's not my car and it's his car and he takes really good care of it, that whole thing. But would I have wanted to feel just calm and peaceful? To be honest with you, no. I'm glad I felt guilty because that makes me. And then I was able to apply the Stoicism after the emotion. And truthfully, that's what feels best for me, is having a bit of both. Shocking. Duality. That's always my thing. A little bit of this, a little bit of this.
Well, that's why I like it too, Gene, your example. That's why I said, like, it was some realism in there, like realistically, like I'm okay with this. And what Brooke dropped too, like not having emotion all the time, it's not realistic, right? And so one of the articles I shared about a guy in his failed relationship, he said some of the cons of it was, and I think across the board, it's when you're communing with other people where stoicism can come off, where it's the negative side of things, at least how they perceive it, where maybe now someone wants you to be a little bit more human, to share in this emotion in this moment. Where I may be a stoic, this person just wants that connection of like, hey, just be with me here in this moment. I'm really freaking out. And you're like, we're good. No, we're not. Everything's on fire. And so I think when it comes to, if it's self, but when we're talking about being good to the community and everything, when it in terms of others, I think that's where some of the downsides could come in to a true, or as I understand it, this is just my understanding, a true stoic, where it can be the negatives, where it's like, okay, you and I have the same experience, and it's a horrible experience, but I'm like, all right, well, it is what it is, Jen. It's like, no, Mike, listen, this is really serious right now. So there's just, again, some of the thoughts that came to mind in terms of where stoicism can be, because I truly like the approach, and that's why a lot of articles you read and stuff, it says not abuse the stoicism, not abused, or too much, right? Too much, I guess what would we say, too much of anything could be bad. So
I think too much of anything, I mean,
mindfulness.
if too much stoicism, I think that puts it into something else. It's not stoicism anymore, right? Stoicism is going to be in this bell section where we are managing our emotions, which is what it sounds like after the initial onslaught of what you experienced. That's where you went to, is managing what was going on for you in that moment, and making a choice to do what they call the virtuous thing, to do the thing that we accept in society. And I know you don't like the word right. I'm just going to use it because right now my brain's stuck on it. To do the right thing, what it brought you to do. So the cool thing about stoicism, it's a huge concept, and it's been around for a really long time. The misnomer around it is, like we mentioned earlier, that there's no interaction. There's distance versus connection, which is what Mike said. There's really connection involved in this. It's not gossiping. It's not building the fire, if you will, in a situation. It's about how do we diffuse the fire in the most beneficial way for all.
Yeah, it makes me think.
Yeah, that's interesting too, Lisa. Oh no, I was just gonna say, just real quick to add on. It's interesting, Lisa, because it's like with stoicism, it's almost a deeper connection and a deep connection to self, and so one has to be really connected to to actually practice that true stoicism as it's as it is in its foundations.
Misha,
yes, I would love that. I would love to get together and you do the driving. That would be great. Oh my goodness. What you said though, Mike, about like meeting someone who is emotional about something with stoicism, how that can, for lack of a better word, be almost triggering to someone, is like, no, this is a big deal. Why are you so calm about it? To me, that's where it shifts into coaching, because if your client is very upset about something and you're just like, it is what it is. Right? Like, how is that gonna make that person feel safe, seen, heard, valued? Are we ready to go there?
I think we're about the midway point. So I'm interested in how this is kind of applied into coaching.
I think as a coach, we're not supposed to join them where they are, right? We're supposed to walk with them where they are. That doesn't mean we have to experience what they're experiencing, that we don't have to get really livid with them. And acknowledging those emotions that they're experiencing, it's finding the path it's still finding the path of least resistance. What's going to help them process, and where do they need to go with this? What's going to serve them? And it does bring it back in an essence to the stoicism, because in the conversation we're connecting in that deeper manner, which allows them to have the process to bring back in. They're managing their emotions, they're finding their resilience, they're finding the path that serves them and probably others.
Yeah.
Brooke is asking,
I
are
think, too-
coaches stoic?
I would say, yeah.
They're people,
Yeah.
so I think yes, that
Yeah.
they can be. I wouldn't say that they're stoics, like
Right.
if that makes
Yeah.
sense. Yes.
I would say with coaching, and this is the great thing I love about the connection. In coaching, it's almost like stoicism can be used as that superpower. I say in class, like our superpower as a coaches on the cape that we wear is presence, right? And so that stoicism can be back to that example you gave, right, Jen? If your client's coming in really heightened sense of emotion about something, and you're just like, okay, what's next? That's different from, okay, Jen, I'm noticing something here. Tell me what's happening. Explain that to me, because that right there is, I'm not taking it on with you.
Yeah.
I'm not being in there. It's still not me, not mine, but I'm bringing to light, okay, it's not going to affect me, right? So I'm going to be stoic in this process. Tell me what that means for you, because now we can lay out the puzzle pieces and put them together, right? Versus me saying, when you come in, because here's the thing, with me meeting your emotion with like just Stonewall, that can be bad. But what also can be as equally bad when you come with the emotion and I jump in there with you. Oh
Yes.
my, I'm so sorry. Like,
Yes.
oh, wait a minute.
So wait. Describe what Stonewall is, because that's what people use. Really,
Right.
when they're equating stoicism, they think it's stonewalling, and it's not. Go ahead.
Right.
Say what that is.
And that's why I say, so with stonewalling, it is really just the lack of anything where I say stoicism for me. Like I said, when I read through all this, y'all, it's like neutrality comes to mind for me, right? Especially in the coaching space, versus stonewalling is just, I don't care. You literally, I think of it as hitting a brick wall, like there's nothing there. If it, and Jen, I'm sorry to use this example now, the brick wall.
Oh man.
No pun intended,
Oh my God. That's great.
But with stoicism, I think of, okay, we hit the brick wall. It's like, okay, wait a minute. Let's breathe. Let's think about this. Versus stonewalling is, I hit the brick wall. It's like, whatever. You know, so that's why I think in coaching, it can be really powerful to have that level, because it, again, I'm not taking on this thing. This is not my issue. So tell me what it means for you in this case. Let me be in this moment. I'm not stonewalling. I'm also not deflecting, like, okay, I don't care, I don't hear you. But it's not about my feelings of it. So that's where I feel like stoicism can really help us in the coaching space.
So you're in the moment with them. You're not in the emotion with them. Right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Not in the emotion or the feeling of the moment, right? Like, and it's this idea of literally looking at it is what it is, but it is what it is to Jen. So let me uncover that more, because now Jen can connect the dots instead of me trying to say, oh yeah, I can think of a time when that happened to me, and I was pissed. I was just really angry. That's different, because now I've taken it on, you know, myself, because it's a lot of isms, right? And it can lead to, like, we can go into the humanism, and that may not be needed in that moment. We can go into the other isms, right? So I feel like in this, it can really be just that superpower that we need in coaching. And then helping clients, you know, how we can help clients to get a little bit of that, you know, that neutrality of it, you know. So, and I don't know, that may be jumping ahead, but how we can help clients with it. But yeah, for coaching, I think it's very useful.
Hey, I'm just thinking that, you know, we don't really talk about that in coaching. I think that's something important we will want to add.
Absolutely. Look, I already got some little drops to talk about in class just from looking at this. Like, this is good stuff.
It's really good stuff.
What would being in the emotion with them look like in comparison?
I mean, we call that kind of sympathy, because
Sympathy versus empathy. Yeah.
you're in it, you're experiencing, you're having the meltdown with them, or whatever it is, you're, the emotional roller coaster, and that's not what they need. They can do that on their own with their own family and friends. They don't need a coach to do the same thing. That's not what they come to a coach for. They'll come to a coach because they've realized they no longer, for the most part, want to behave in that manner. They want to decide, what are the actions that go along with the new being that they want to be.
So what if it's the reverse? What if the client comes in very stoic?
So Stonewally or stoic? Because stoic, we've already kind of described as someone that's comfortable going deep, right?
Yeah, I would say.
So are you talking about that client, or are you
I'm talking about the stone face client?
The stone face. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if somebody's ordered to come to you, which that's not done so much, that's going to be that client. As a couples coach, I might have one that comes in a little more stone faced because they don't trust the process. They don't know the process, and they don't know whose side the coach is going to take, which the right answer is you don't take sides. So it might just take a little time of interaction with that. I had a teenager one time I was working with, and he had his guard up for sure. He was very much stonewalling. He was polite in the sense of he would still share with me different things, and then we got into just having a normal, fun conversation, I'll call it, versus working conversation. And once we interacted just in a normal, let's have a chat way, that stonewalling or stone face changed. And while it wasn't complete trust, it was a movement in that direction. So that stoicism could play a part.
Yeah, and Jen, when you said that question, I think two thoughts for me when I think about it in the coaching space. Number one, if they come in like that in this stone wall, even if it's stoicism, whatever it may be, however they present, the first train of thought for me is, how do I maximize closing that gap for them and how they show up? Because I don't want them to change, because they're bringing 20, 30, 40 years, however old they are, of being that way. It's not my job to change them. It's my job to see how they can maximize, life being how they are, right? So that's the first rule of thought, I think. If they're stonewall when they come in, hey,
right.
Number one, let's ask questions to explore. Yeah. And what does that look like for you, right? How is that serving you? Here's the other one, though. And this goes to, this idea of shifting perspectives for our clients. The opposites game, I say, right? In coaching, what's another way to look at this? What if it did matter? Or what if once they bring in certain words, right? I'm not going to throw words on the table, but I'll play the opposites, because it's maybe just giving them that bird's eye view. This was in one of the articles I read too, that top-down approach, where now you're getting them to see it in a different light. And so maybe playing the opposites game of, well, what if it did matter? Or what if it did, and now seeing that light sometimes goes off, and it's like, yeah, I never thought of that, because I've been doing it this way for 20 years. So those are my two thoughts that come to mind when I think about how a client presents. Number one, that's fine. It's not my job to change them. But number two, is there an opportunity? And we use that word because it's important. Is there an opportunity for me to shift the perspective or shine the light maybe in a different place than where they're currently looking? So that's kind of how I see it. And once again, that stoicism comes up for me thinking about it as a coach, because whatever they say, it's cool. It's all good. Whatever that answer is on the other side of the questions.
I like to do the role reversal of taking on, if I came to you and I said, and I reflect their words, what would you say to me? And it's like all of a sudden they do this shift in their mind and they give the best advice ever. And then it's just, I let them sit with it. I don't respond to it. I just let them take that. And they're always just like, they realize what happened there. That just by shifting, don't think as you, don't think as you, think of you, but talking to somebody else, all of a sudden, all this wisdom comes out. So I like that. I know, Lisa, you like the fly on the wall, right? For perspective shifting.
I do a lot of different ones. It depends on the situation. That is definitely one, the fly on the wall. What would you tell your best friend? Which is another way to describe what you shared. I do the positions exercise where I have them get up and move around the room and different. Well, they choose where they're going. I mean, just all kinds of different ways. And even just that simply, what do you hear yourself saying can be a benefit too.
Yeah. What do you hear?
With parents, one I love with parents, I'll say, well, what you tell your kid? Because it puts them in the role of authority and they really just go to town. And they'll list like 5 things. And like you said, Jen, then I'll just wait.
Yeah.
And they'll go. Oh, yeah. I've heard clients say, what did you just do, Mike?
Yeah.
I just wait. I didn't do anything. But shifting that perspective and giving somebody the role of autonomy, in authority, it's like, oh, now they have all the answers.
Yeah. But the cool thing of all of these tools, we're not shifting anything. The client goes in there and does that work and figures out what that importance is to them.
Yeah, so true. You're not offering a perspective shift. You're simply inviting them to explore in a way that allows them to shift their perspective, which is a totally different thing from saying, hey, have you ever thought about it this way?
Yeah.
Handing them the tools and not really doing the work for them.
Yeah.
Yep. Teaching them to fish rather than handing them a fish. Yeah.
This kind of went a little different way than I thought it was going to go, but I like it.
How did you think it was going to go?
I didn't know.
I think there's a lot in Stoicism that can present itself in coaching.
I think we could probably go in this even more in depth and have more conversations around this in other lives. So I'm excited about this topic.
You said you're going to add it to the curriculum, maybe.
Yeah.
Potentially bring it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a lot. Yeah.
It's some good stuff. I know that.
Yeah, I'm not going to sit and pretend like I've been very completely aware of what Stoicism was for a long time, but it is interesting now that I had a chance to delve into it.
I find it funny how we latch onto words as a society and think we know what they mean. And then when we do this research, it's like, oh, yes.
Guilty. Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah. And I even have that Marcus book.
I do too. Yep.
I just haven't read it. And now after this topic, I'm like, I'm going to pull that out. Because from what I heard is that you can just read it at random. You don't have to read it, you can just kind of flip it and open it and just read from it.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely going to do that. Another thing I realized that I do that I didn't realize was Stoic or Stoicism is that I always ask myself, what would it be I try to identify when am I paddling upstream and when am I flowing downstream? Like I take that visual of like, are you working harder than you need to and you're not getting anywhere? How can you shift so you can just go with the flow? Because, that is a struggle I want to try to minimize as much as possible, is creating stress and creating suffering when it's all self-created. So
there is I know when I was diving into the research for this, there was something that I saw that pretty much said that there is the ultimate goal is to what you're talking about is to create, I think, less friction. So again, this is, I think, another space where it can apply in coaching is where this is, for the most part, kind of what clients are looking to do. So I think Stoicism it's about trying to explore the options, and it's really not complaining, because I mean that really just compounds the problem, doesn't, I think, is like really just to complain about something, instead of actually exploring what the options are to essentially get you in whatever direction that you want to go in. And again, this is something that I did read up on when we were doing some research on Stoicism,
Mhm.
that I think also applies really gracefully with coaching. So
Yeah.
Oh, Brooke there was a social media trend of what would you say to the kid version of yourself? It was so emotional and sweet to read. Um, I got sucked into the next one.
But yeah, no, that trend Brooks talking about, I saw that too, and yeah, it was emotional. It's another one too they did with kids, but it's like, man, like heartfelt, like it gets you, which makes me think of something I forgot to say earlier, Jen. Too, with coaches, especially for all those who would see themselves or consider themselves to be empaths, where stoicism really could help, right?
Oh,
Of, not to take on those feelings in that case, especially when emotions arise in coaching conversations. This could really help because it's the mindfulness of, okay, in this space, I don't have to take this. Like, what does it mean for them? And back to what Lisa and I said in the coaching space, we always say it's that empathy versus sympathy, because in that sympathy, now you feel it. And now it's two of us crying. It's going to take us twice as long to get back on track. And it's like, I like to say to, like you said earlier, Jen, I don't like to say, coaches ask me in class to wrong and right. I say be mindful about what it does for your client, right?
Right.
The mindfulness around it, So, is it the worst thing in the world? Are they going to fire? I don't know. But does that help the client progress forward, and closing that gap that they have when they come to you?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I literally had, oh my gosh, it makes me so mad. I had something, like that I was ready to add to that, and it's gone. It's flown. It's in the air now.
Knocked it out of your hand.
I don't know.
Me talking, I knocked it out of your hand.
I have to write it down. I don't know where I was going to insert, but we're talking about resilience. But we had a live where we spent a great deal of time around anti-fragility, and I really liked that perspective as well. It wasn't just resilience; it was beyond resilience. It was just so it's helping that client not be in the pendulum swing, right? To get back to whatever that center space is where they're not hijacked. Their amygdala is not hijacked. And they can make decisions based on what is really in front of them versus those emotions.
So it came back to me. It is when Mike was talking about coaches and identifying as an empath. So this was a big one for me. I learned through the coach training that somewhere in my life, I took on a belief that it was virtuous to feel other people's emotions, to feel all of the pain when anything happened. And so I was carrying that and I didn't know it. And so when I learned in class that that's not actually serving someone, that was just like, okay, you're telling me I get to be an empath a whole new way now? Oh, this is good, because I didn't like how it was going. And so that is something I think that a lot of coaches probably come in with, is this understanding of like, I'm so empathic. How am I not going to feel with them? Well, you're going to learn how to not feel with them, because that's what's going to serve them best in their growth. And when you can do that, it's just like a weight lifted off your shoulders. I'm still incredibly empathic, but I have much more, it's like I've harnessed it, like I have more authority over it than just giving it freely, constantly to everyone and everything. That was an exhausting way to live.
Well, I mean, I'm going to say it. I'm going to get out there and say it. I'm stuttering here, but the whole point of that is I'm getting excited about that, because there are so many people that think wearing somebody else's stuff is a badge of honor, and it's just
Right.
it's not.
Yeah.
They think that, you know, that I'm going to say client versus me, that client is going to feel like I'm really a good coach if I wear that badge, and that's completely the opposite.
Mhm. Yeah, I was going to say that can be really detrimental. I mean, that's kind of what we definitely do speak about when it comes to being a coach, is keeping your composure. It's really tough for you to be able to collaborate with somebody if you are taking on everything that they're releasing for you and expressing and reacting the same way that they are. It really just, it puts you at a disadvantage as far as allowing yourself to actually be capable enough to drive the coaching session in a direction that's impactful and beneficial for the client.
Yeah. And I think there's a way to, at least for me, where I can feel, okay, there's something resonating in my body here, but I don't like dive into it and immerse myself in it and stay in it. It's like I just kind of let it flow. Okay, I feel something, but I'm able to stay grounded as a coach. And that is something that I could have only learned through training. You
Yeah.
couldn't have ever taught me that any other way.
Which is also then attributed to Stoicism because of what you've just described. You didn't have to wear it. You could recognize it. You stayed in the neutral territory, and you're able to apply skills and questions that will work for your client by being able to do that, versus one where you're sorry, I went to hitting a brick wall when you're in heightened emotions.
Jen, you're gonna know from now on, you're gonna know when I respond to your posts with a brick wall emoji. This is gonna be our inside joke. It's just gonna be the inside joke. That's gonna be my new little explosion emoji. Like when I like something, it's gonna be the brick wall.
Perfect.
But yeah, back to that point though, what you said, Jen, I think that's important for coaches to know too, because I think coaches feel like in one-on-one, let me speak for myself, and this is why I relate to coaches when share from my transparent point of view. I think coaches think that's an attack at first when you come in and it's like, okay, now I can't go with them, I can't show them that I feel them. That's why I'm glad we talk about sincere validation. So I think at first it can be hard for someone who is used to feeling the feels or connecting with someone, and we think, oh, now they won't know I really care or I'm here to help them. And so I think this is really good for coaches too. And why we share the way we do in class is because no, it's not that you won't feel. You're human. You should. The compassion that as a human being having a human experience, that's great. But now how do you cope with that to be able to find that neutral space, that stoicism where now I don't take it on and now I'm just holding them in this same spot where they are instead of helping them to realize, okay, what is it? Wow, what's the feelings from it? And now how do I move forward, or how do I want to move forward at least? And so I think that's the biggest thing too, that is like one of those aha moments for me. It's like at first you think it's a bad thing, or, oh, now I can't, here's what you may hear or think, now I can't be myself. This is not what I signed up for.
Yes. Yes.
So I think that's the important thing too, which is beautiful once you get to that space.
Yeah, I think I definitely had like a little hit of that, like, oh, I don't get to be me. But then there was like this invitation of I get to be like a different version of me. I want that. I want to learn who that person is, because I think that person can be much more helpful, not just as a coach with a client, but that person translating out into the world, my family, my friends, anyone I interact with, they get a much better human being. Let's just be honest. Like they're getting someone that is more emotionally stable and grounded and resilient, and that is good for everyone. That's a win for, I think, all. So yeah, wow, the time flew by. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we are coming to the end of it. Do we want to do final thoughts, unless anybody else has anything else to add?
No, I don't. It'll probably open up a whole new can, so we're good. I liked reevaluating what Stoicism is, in the sense of what society has attributed to. I enjoyed the recognition of a lot of the things that we do as coaches, that is a very mindful space to be in.
Mm-hmm. I think Stoicism is really cool, honestly. I don't think I've ever delved into this particular philosophy of living, because it always seemed like, honestly, for lack of better words, like an asshole way of living. But I've kind
Yes,
of,
it gets a bad rep.
yeah,
Yes,
but
Mhm.
for
It
sure.
I've
does.
come to understand that it's, I wouldn't even say like not totally bad. Like it's I think a pretty decent way of living. Again,
Yeah.
as long as you're expressing your emotions still and not shifting who you are as, a human being, because yes, there's going to be human aspects to actually implementing stoicism, so it kind of drives away from it. See you, Brooke. um but I think the blueprint is something that's is pretty interesting, and I think ultimately for good, not as, what I perceived as a, an asshole way to live.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It has a practical application, I think, for everyone. Like there's parts of stoicism that everyone could utilize and benefit from. You don't have to be a stone-faced stoic in order to practice some of the principles. So yeah, I love that. I
Mhm.
did not know that. That is new.
Yeah, tap into it. Tap into that inner stoic. The proper research around what it means to be stoic, and then see how you can use it. Just like with anything else, use it to your benefit. So that's kind of my takeaway from it.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, subscribe, share.
Usually Anthony
Take our
has like a really good
classes.
bit about
Anthony's-
taking our classes. Yeah,
Yes.
that kind of ties
And if
into
you want to learn
stoicism.
more about stoicism, take our coaching 101 class. That's what he would
Ooh,
do.
that was a good channeling. of
Absolutely.
Take our coaching
And
102 class if you want to learn.
and don't stop there. And
Yeah.
don't stop there. When you want to really get into shifting perspectives and going deeper, take 102.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, but seriously, seriously,
Yeah.
that is, again, and from a facilitator being here on the live, everybody, the information, like Lisa and we said it earlier, I don't know if we were recording or not, like this offers a new insight even into how I teach, because it's so much there of what we're already teaching. But
Yeah.
now to bring this into it, to expand, how we say sometimes nerding out on a certain topic,
Yeah.
I think this is even better. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So like, share, subscribe, comment, tell a friend, and join us every Wednesday now.
Yes.
3 p.m. Pacific,
Yes.
6 p.m. Eastern. Did I get that right?
Yes,
That's right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wednesdays.
Yep. And Mike,
All
will you
right.
be back next week?
I'll be back next week and a
Yay!
lot more, because I
Okay,
love
good.
Wednesdays. I'm free.
Okay. Awesome. That's exciting.
All right.
Absolutely.
Well,
Great.
we will
Thank
see
you
you
for
guys next week. Thank you all for joining us, and have a good rest of your evening.